Alright, good morning everyone, and welcome to the stream. If you wonder why I'm laughing, it's because I hit record and I had OBS error and I started swearing profusely. So I just hit record again. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to my last consecutive streaming day of the week. Huh? What? Yeah, that's right, I know. Sounds weird, doesn't it? I just came back. I just started streaming on Monday. Like I said, this is the weird week for me because I had Sunday off from streaming, not for a normal day of running errands and going to appointments and doing the things that I need to do on my day off, but I actually had taken an extra day off to spend with my wife for her birthday, which was nice. So now, my normal day off for the week is actually tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be doing things like grocery shopping. We actually have an important appointment we need to go to in the afternoon, getting pet supplies and the like. We'll be doing all these things. And so basically today is my last streaming day of the week, and then I have a break tomorrow, and then I come back for a whoppingly massive 7 straight days of streaming next week. But you know, it'll be a good week next week because, oh, I didn't mean to hit that. It'll be a good day next week because there's 2 new games coming out. And it's a good variety of stuff that's happening over the course of the next week, too. Of course, we'll talk about that in a moment, the schedule. But the fact that I'll be wrapping up ongoing playthroughs while taking on 2 new games should be pretty fun. So even though it's going to be a lengthy streaming week, I think we're going to be excited every single day here, you know, to do whatever I'm doing. And it's going to be good stuff, man. It should be good stuff coming up. So, I'm excited. But today, I'm actually very excited because today we're doing really fun stuff on the streams, okay? The first stream today, we're concluding Tormented Souls. This is the throwback survival horror game made by an indie studio that I've been playing over the course of the last weekend. And man, it's been fun because I haven't played a classic style survival horror game in very long. As you guys know, the last many years, 3-4 years, they've basically gone and remade the classics. You know what I'm saying? They're remade them, but they don't play like classic games anymore. You know, they should, but they don't. They redid all the cameras, they redid all the combat to make it more over-the-shoulder, modernized Resident Evil experiences. And so, really, a old-school fixed camera angle game with a bunch of puzzles and things really has not been seen in a very, very long time. And so, it's actually pretty exciting and refreshing to play one like that, alright? Now, in regards to this game, Tormented Souls, there's pros and there's cons. And being that today we're going to beat it, I have a few things to say about it. First of all, there's some things that I like about the game a lot. One of the things that absolutely stands out about this game is the tremendous amount of puzzles. This game has a lot of puzzles like they used to be in games like Myst, or, yes, the classic Resident Evils and classic Silent Hill games. And I actually really like these puzzles because they're actually tricky. Some of these are mind-numbing puzzles. Like, I had a key with a bunch of symbols on it, and I thought, oh, that key is only to solve 1 puzzle. No, that key was to solve 4 puzzles. And I actually could have went around solving those puzzles relatively early on, but didn't realize that that key could open all those doors because the puzzles are so kind of cryptic and really make you think to solve them. In addition, you start running into things early on in the game, like a lift that needs a battery and the battery charger, that you don't actually implement those things until way later in the game. Like 6 hours later, you run into the item you need to do it. And I like that because it makes you kind of think, and it also makes you kind of play the game, I would almost argue at a rapid pace, because let's be honest here, if I've been playing this game once or twice a week, within 2-3 weeks, you'll forget what you're doing, and you would have forgotten all of those things from the puzzles. It forces you to remember what's going on in the game. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. It actually makes you actively, think about what you're doing and where you're going in the game. You know, I like that. So I hope that you guys are enjoying that portion of the game. The puzzles, okay? The graphics. The graphics are very reminiscent of original Resident Evil remake. If you remember, Resident Evil 1 had a remake many years ago. We're talking before the time that Resident Evil 2 and 3 got remade. Way before that, there was a remake of the original Resident Evil. And it's the original game with some rehashed gameplay and a lot of new graphics. and it looks really good, and this game looks on par with that, I would argue. So I think the graphics are actually quite good. The music, oh my god, the music is like a total throwback to classic Resident Evil and Silent Hill, okay? And also, I would argue some of those gameplay elements going between dimensions and such is like Silent Hill, very Silent Hill-esque, okay? So there's a lot to like about this game if you like classic survival horror. However, the game certainly is not perfect, and is it the best survival horror game I've played in a while? No, not really. There's a lot of things in the game that are kind of... Basically, let me put it this way, because it's an indie studio, it shows. The combat leaves a lot to be desired and is incredibly basic. Literally, it's just auto-aim shooting at things. Over and over and over and over. Yes, there's a dodge mechanic. I've used it once ever in the entirety of the game to any kind of great effect. Outside of that, you just stay away from enemies, tank them out, and if they hit you, heal after. It's not a big deal. It's like classic Resident Evil gameplay. The enemies are not varied at all. All the enemies in the game have been these mutated zombie freaks that have been operated on. Whether they have legs or not, whether they're sitting in a wheelchair, whether they're on a hanging rack from a hospital, or whether it's these new, more tougher versions that have been in this basement area, they're all essentially the same kind of enemy. You know what I'm saying? There's no variety in the combat, and there's no variety in the enemies of the game at all. The story. Ugh. It sounds like the story of this game, they didn't know what they wanted to do with it. They definitely wanted it to have kind of a supernatural element, but at the same time, they kind of wanted it to be Resident Evil and be scientific. So you have some kind of a cult trying to resurrect some kind of a god, but at the very same time, you have people who are experimenting on creatures to try to solve the sickness of some, the wife of the scientist or whatever. And so you have mutated freaks that are kind of like zombies for Resident Evil, but then there's a cult doing shit behind the scenes, kind of like Silent Hill. So it feels like they really did lift stuff from those classic survival horror franchise, taped it together with like duct tape, and said, oh, it's a game. But the plot really is one of the weakest points for me. So yeah, I would argue the game is definitely a mixed bag, but it's a mixed bag definitely leaning towards a good game if you like classic survival horror. The fact that the game's only $20 digitally, and I'm already 9 hours in, and today we're going to beat it in around 12 hours, that's a good value. That's actually quite a good value for a game in the modern era. Especially when we're playing $60 for games that are pretty repetitive and don't have much replay value these days. It's pretty good to get a game for $20 that feels like a throwback and is really enjoyable if you like that style of game. So today, we're going to wrap it up. We're actually in the final area of the game, this basement, that essentially is like a place where they were doing worship of this god, and also we're trying to do these cultish ceremonies. I don't know how much longer we have left, but I've been told the game's around 12 hours long, so if that's true, we probably have at least 2 to 3 hours left in the game. I am not expecting any great grand finale. I'm just being honest with you guys. Being that this is an indie game, I'm not expecting a giant final boss fight. I'm not expecting anything special outside of what we've already done in the game so far. I am very low on ammo. I have 3 shots left in the cattle prod, and that's it. I don't have any ammo for the other 2 weapons. So, if we basically don't, find ammo, this could be pretty tough. It might come down to, I have to try to avoid all the enemies to beat the game, which could make it a lot harder. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. And also, I'll be honest, I am not expecting any grand resolution to the story. Like many survival horror games, I get the feeling the ending is going to probably stink. But that's okay. For me, the ride has been good. And you guys really have embraced this game. I didn't know how you guys were going to like this game because it's an indie game, right? You guys loved it. Every day when I play this game, the attendance is good, the support is good. People come out and tell me, wow, I'm really enjoying the playthrough. So I'm very happy about that. Thank you guys for supporting this playthrough, something random that I decided to do over the weekend. It actually ended up being better, and I mean this, getting better reception than the Ghost of Tsushima expansion and Psychonauts 2. Yeah, it actually did better than both modern games that I've been playing. You guys liked this throwback game better than those two. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you for that. Again, because, I didn't know how it was going to go. This was supposed to be a filler game in the midst of everything else going on, and it ended up kind of being the highlight, okay? So, thank you for that. I'm excited. Let's see how it ends today. And, excuse me. Later tonight, on the late stream, I'm continuing on with Hades. Now, for those who've been following the Hades playthrough, you might be saying, What? Hades? But you beat it. Well, actually, no, I didn't. Here's what happens in Hades, because Hades is an interesting, unique, roguelike game. Once you beat Hades the first time, meaning you escape Hades and you fight, Hades, the final boss, you beat him, you get some cool story, and then the game resets and throws you back into the underworld. Now the game apparently changes significantly, because now apparently there's new enemy types and or variations of stuff. Now the story opens up even more fully, and you're expected to beat the game essentially another 9 times in order to see the true ending of the game. So, I'm definitely going to keep playing it. Will I beat it 9 more times? I don't know. I would like to commit to that, but the thing is, I don't know how different the game's going to be. And if this game sees an insane difficulty spike at this point, right? I don't know if I'm going to want to commit to the time frame of, I'm going to keep playing this game for the next 5 months till I finally beat it 10 more times. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess we'll see what happens. Tonight, when I play it for the first time after the first completion, I want to see how significantly different the game is. I want to see how the plot opens up. Certainly, I want to keep going with the bow build, because the bow build has been my best in the entirety of using stuff in the game. It's worked out really well, so I definitely want to keep going with that. And I'm curious to see, what else will unlock now. So let's enjoy tonight more Hades at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. And I'd also like to say thanks to those who've been attending and supporting the Hades streams recently. They've been pretty good. People have been enjoying it, especially because I was coming to that first completion, and now going through the game again, for the next clears or completions or whatever you want to call them. It would be pretty interesting. Maybe I could do another one tonight. That would be outstanding. If I could beat it another time tonight, would be really cool. So I guess we'll find out, all right? Now, I'm not here tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day off for streaming, as I've explained. But when I return on Friday, there is a brand new release. It is Life is Strange True Colors. Surprising. Hold on. Oh my god, I'm drinking seltzer water. Excuse me. It's absolutely disgusting. Surprisingly, the game is getting outstanding reviews. If you actually take a look, only one media outlet has said it's not very good. EGM gave it a 6 out of 10. But everyone else gave it either like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. Now, Life is Strange True Colors is essentially Life is Strange 3. Let's be honest here. It's Life is Strange 3. They just called it something different. And I'm excited for this because, number one, it's a narrative-based game. And as you guys know, typically, narrative-based games are some of the more fun ones that I can stream and commentate over. I mean, I just played Last Stop, and that game ended up being zany, wacky fun. It was one of the weirdest narrative-based games I've ever played. I had a ton of fun playing it. Even though the ending was ridiculous and over-the-top stupid, I still really enjoyed the game. Okay? Life is Strange 1, I really liked. Life is Strange 2, I really disliked. But either playthrough is enjoyable because, you guys know me, I'm an honest commentator, and I'll react to what's going on in the game appropriately. Life is Strange 1, sure, it had a lot of, I would argue, liberal views, but I don't care about that. The plot was good, the characters were solid, everything was good about that game, even though it might have shoved some themes down your throat that maybe you didn't like. Doesn't matter. For me, I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really solid game, and that's the one that started this resurgence, almost, of narrative-based games outside of Telltale, because at the time, Telltale was the top company doing it before they imploded. Life is Strange 2 literally just forgot its way. It became a game where all it tried to do was preach to you about how bad America is. Everyone in America is prejudiced. Everyone in America is racist. Everyone in America is sexist. Everyone in America is bad. And after, like, this third episode, I was like, dude, I can't take this anymore. Like, this game is so preachy and shitty compared to the first one. It actually drove me nuts in that regard. And the thing was, if it wasn't so ham-handed or heavy-handed in the way that it tried to portray those agendas, maybe the game would have been a lot more enjoyable. But you can tell the writer sucked. Whoever wrote that game was a hack. And that's why the game sucked overall. There was an entire episode where you're in the woods with a bunch of fucking, like, weirdo hipster kids. And, like, why the fuck does this episode even exist? There's nothing to do with even the plot. It's just like a filler thing. Alright? So here's the thing about Life is Strange True Colors. It's not episodic. Alright? This is the first time they've ever released a Life is Strange game. But the first one, the prequel, and Life is Strange 2 were all episodic. And that meant that they essentially had to have filler content to fill time. They basically had to rush certain things to get the episodes out. In this case, the game was completed all at once. So it's done. It's polished. It's ready to go. You don't have to worry about, this wasn't, rushing this, doing that. No, it's done. It's 100% done. And I'm very excited for that because we never really had an episodic game like that before, or excuse me, a narrative-based game like that before, outside of the one we just played, Last Stop, right? All the other ones have always been episodic release, and I actually feel that that does take away a bit from the overall gaming experience. When you have to wait 2 months between each episode, you tend to forget the narrative, you tend to stop caring about the characters. That wait can actually kill anticipation, even though sometimes you think, oh, it'll build anticipation. I feel it could kill anticipation, because, you know, maybe you're so busy now with other things, other games have come out, other things are going on in the world. Who cares about this game I was playing 4 months ago, right? I actually like the fact that this will be all back to back to back release. It's even if the game is broken up in episodic structure, which I'm assuming it very well may be, because they're so used to doing that, we could keep playing it as much as we want. We could stop whenever we want. That's awesome. Instead of having to be limited to, oh, I gotta try to finish this episode on the stream today. It's like, nah, fuck it, turn it off, resume it later. It's a real full-length game this time. Now, does that mean the game will be 10 hours long, 15, 20? I have no idea. I haven't read any reviews or anything of it yet, okay? But I am excited to jump into it on Friday. So I hope you guys will join me. Whether or not you like the original Life is Strange's, or if you just want to jump into something new, narrative-based and interesting, please join me on Friday for the premiere of Life is Strange True Colors. It should be interesting. Okay? Okay. Friday night will be my usual weekly late-night session of Street Fighter, where I play old-school Street Fighter for 2 hours and have a good time, so I hope you'll join me for that. And then there'll be more Life is Strange on Saturday, and I'm going to pair that with more Hades on Saturday night. Sunday, we're going to swing back to Psychonauts 2. Now, if you are not caught up on the Psychonauts 2 playthrough, it has essentially, I don't want to say that the game has lost momentum, because it hasn't. In fact, we're in the end game of the game, which is, you know, these own unique dungeons and things, that actually the game has gotten better. Yesterday, we did a whole library dungeon and a cool boss and everything, and I'm really enjoying the game, and almost no one was on the stream. And that's disappointing to me, because this is a new release. This is a game that I'm telling you guys, compared to the other games I've played recently, this definitely is one of the best games, if not top 10 best games of 2021. But no one is talking about it. No one is playing it. The game essentially is dead on arrival. That's ridiculous. I can't believe that people aren't, you know, talking about this game anymore. They talked about it for like a day, and then everyone forgot about it because the game didn't have any marketing, and the game released on Game Pass, but it was so poorly marketed, people didn't even realize that it was on other consoles outside of the Xbox. People were coming on my stream saying, man, I really wish I could play this game, but I don't have an Xbox Series X. And I was like, dude, it's on every console. What are you talking about? No one even knew. Right? No one even knew. So I'm excited for the conclusion of this game, because it's really good. And I hope you guys will join me on Sunday when I continue. Apparently, for what I'm being told, if I rush through and do well, I could beat it on Sunday. But likely, you know me, I usually take my time, I look for items, etc. So likely it'll take me another 2 streams, and it may not be 2 main streams, maybe 1 main stream and 1 night stream. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that as the main stream on Sunday, and then I'm going to be doing Microsoft Flight Simulator on Sunday night. And then on Monday, it'll probably be more Life is Strange, and then Monday night is up in the air. It could be something random from Game Pass. It could be I finish up Psychonauts 2 on the late stream. Okay? Then on Tuesday, it is the premiere of Deathloop. And yes, I will be here on Tuesday for the premiere of Deathloop. It'll be my highlighted game. This is a game from the makers of Dishonored, which is a great game franchise. But we haven't heard from it in a very long time. The last thing that came out was this DLC expansion standalone that I hated. It was really bad because you didn't get to play as the protagonist. You played as one of the villains. And that villain didn't have any of the good abilities of the protagonist, so it ended up kind of sucking ass, in my opinion. And it's been years and years since we got anything out of the Dishonored franchise. So to have that gameplay style return, but now with almost a roguelike spin to it, is kind of interesting. And I mean, Deathloop at this point, we've been hearing about it for 2 years. It's about time it comes out and we actually play it, right? So that's going to be the main game on Tuesday. So then I'm actually here streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that means I'm here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 7 straight streaming days. And the focus will be Life is Strange, True Colors, and Deathloop once both games are released, with night streams of things such as Hades, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Street Fighter, and or maybe 1 or 2 other things we cram in there if we have time. Alright. Now, there's a couple games that are also coming out at exactly the same time And you guys might say, well, is Phil going to play them? Okay. First of all, let's talk about the big one that people keep asking me about every day. All right. And that is Tales of Arise. The new game from the Tales series. Okay. There has not been a new Tales game in many years. I've played some Tales games over the years. First of all, before I ever even became a YouTuber, I played Tales of Vesperia, 100%ed it. I got every single achievement in it on the Xbox 360. I thought the game was one of the best RPGs I had ever played. I loved the action-based combat and the free flow of the combat. The graphics were outstanding on the Xbox 360 at the time. And I liked the story. I liked everything about it. I played the living shit out of that game, okay? But I never played it for YouTube. That was before I was a YouTuber, all right? Now, years later, Tales of Exilia came out. And I played that game, very lengthy playthrough. Enjoyed that one as well. Had a ton of fun with it. That's where the meme, mutton, fresh mutton, came from. But then, I played Tales of Exilia 2. And that one, quite frankly, was a monstrous disappointment. It literally reused half the assets of the first Tales of Exilia. They didn't really put effort into it. They really didn't. They didn't try very hard to make it a good game. It was a very disappointing game that I didn't really enjoy that much at all. Okay, so I actually never beat it. I played like halfway into it and got bored of it, and so did the audience, so I just quit it and no one really cared. So, definitely you can see how different these games can be, both in their execution and their reception. Now, Tales of Arise looks like a great game, but this is a classic case for me of poor timing, all right? If Tales of Arise had released 2 months ago, this could have been an awesome summer playthrough. I could have been playing this and enjoying it at length and having all this time to sink into a cool JRPG with great graphics on the PS5 and having a blast with it, right? The problem is, why the hell is the game coming out now, at the beginning of the busiest gaming season of the year? We know in the next 2-3 months, every week there's going to be multiple new game releases, right? Why would you release a lengthy JRPG now? It doesn't even make sense. It would make more sense to have this come out in December. It really would. Because then at least people would say, okay, we got through the busy gaming season, now we can sit down and, you know, for the holidays, I can enjoy a lengthy JRPG. Releasing it now just seems one of the worst timings I've ever seen for an RPG like this. Seriously. I don't know what they're thinking at all. Because the thing is, if I were to start playing Tales of Arise on Friday, all right, I would have to juggle it with Life is Strange and Deathloop. Now, the week after that, okay, is going to be the beta for Call of Duty Vanguard, which I'm very interested in playing because, let's be honest here, Call of Duty this year doesn't look so great. When we played the alpha build, it didn't look good either. So actually playing the beta might determine whether or not I get the game this year, and I might want to play it a couple times before I make that determination. In addition to that, in just about a week and a half, all right, on the 24th of September, we've got both Kena Bridge of Spirits and Lost Judgment coming out. Now, Lost Judgment is probably and arguably one of my top 3 most anticipated games of this year. All right? I'm dying to play the game because I absolutely loved Judgment, 2 years ago. It was my favorite game of the summer, and it was my top 3 games of that year. It was that good of a game. I played it incredibly lengthy. I did almost all the content that was available in the game. It was super duper fun. Okay? So, I'm excited, very excited for Lost Judgment. And that's going to be a game that I know is going to take up a lot of my time with the way that it's structured, with the incredible amount of open world wandering, side content, and things that you come across. I know the game's going to take a long-ass time, you see? So that being said, do I really want to start Tales of Arise and try to balance it with 2 other major releases, and then within a week and a half playing another incredibly lengthy Japanese-style game that I know I'm going to want to play more of because it was my favorite game, or one of my favorite games of 2 years ago? You see? It just seems to me, this is just, I don't know, it's just very disappointing to me. I'm not just, and it's funny because some people will say, well, Phil, not every game caters to you. No kidding. I'm not saying to cater to me. I'm saying when these games are released, what they have to do, they have to really take a look at the gaming landscape. And they have to say, okay, what games coming out are going to be direct competition So if you're looking at Tales of Arise, a lengthy Japanese-style RPG, and you look at all the games that are coming out in the next few months, okay, what games would be direct competition? I would argue Lost Judgment is one. I would argue Shin Megami Tensei 5 is definitely one, okay? And then, of course, you could argue other things in between there as well. But I would argue those are the two big competitors for the game, because they're all incredibly lengthy games, RPG-style games, right? Of course, they're different styles. Let's be honest here. You know, Lost Judgment is very different from the style of a classic JRPG. We know that, okay? But if you're looking at the gaming landscape, there's two games coming out that are going to be kind of in competition with mine. Should we release the game between or after or right alongside them? I mean, use your fucking brain. They don't do this. They seriously act like my game is the best game ever made, so it doesn't matter when I release it. It will sell anyway. Like, no, 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 no. That's not how life works. People don't have unlimited funds to buy every game, and people don't have unlimited time to play every game. They pick and choose. If you're going to tell me, do you want to play Tales of Arise or Lost Judgment? You can only play one. Lost Judgment 1,000% of the time. Seriously. So that's what pisses me off. Do I want to play Tales of Arise? Yes. Everything I've seen about the game looks great. Everything. Like, the graphics look good. The gameplay looks better. Like, seriously, everything is looking good. But then I look at the timing of it coming out. I'm like, why would I start this? Right? Oy, oy, oy. Anyway. You see the point I'm making. As much as you guys probably want to see me play Tales of Arise, I don't think it makes sense to start it now. Like, if I started playing it now, essentially what would happen is I try to balance it with the other two new releases and probably not get to play a lot of it. Then, as soon as Lost Judgment comes out, that's my priority, and Tales of Arise is going to get played, what, once a week on a night stream? How the fuck are you going to beat, like, a 60-hour JRPG playing it 2 hours a week? You're not. You see? So for me, that's my line of thinking. All right? I'm not saying I'm never going to play it, by the way. I'm saying right now, this doesn't make sense to me to start up this RPG now. I think wait, and like I said, the perfect time for an RPG would probably be like December, right? Once all the gaming landscape is settled and all the hot new releases have already come out and I've either beaten them or, you know, they've been out for a while and I'm well into them. Okay, now you want to start up an incredibly lengthy RPG? Great. But not now. Okay? That's true too. Graceful Phoenix says support would also be questionable when you're playing two RPGs at the same time. That is also correct. And you have to understand, guys, as much as I would love to sit here and only play the games that I like to play, I am also operating a business. When you operate a business, you have to do what's good for the business and for the customers as well as for yourself. That's the unique part of my business, is that it is about me enjoying myself, but also about you guys enjoying the content. It's both of us getting pleasure out of what I'm doing, right? So that being said, I can't play two RPGs at once. It ain't gonna work, man. I just came out of an incredibly long RPG with Fallout New Vegas. I can't get myself into two more and expect people are gonna follow two RPGs at the same time while I'm playing other games as well. Makes sense. So, folks, no, at this point, I will not be playing Tales of Arise this Friday. As much as I'd like to, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. However, I will absolutely leave it as a consideration, and perhaps in a few months when things calm down with all these non-stop new releases, then I will sit down and play it when I have a chance to focus on it. Maybe, like I said, later this year, maybe in like December. Okay? See? Anto Camaro says, I'm the opposite. I actually want to play Lost Judgment, but I'm more interested in Tales of Arise, so I'll get that. Same as Deathloop. I agree with you there, and that's the thing. I really feel, again, when you have two games like this, two lengthy games, they are RPGs, although they're completely different styles of RPGs. They're going to cannibalize each other. You're going to have people who are more interested in one or the other, and are only going to buy one or the other. How many people are going to buy two lengthy RPGs and play them alongside each other? Probably not a heck of a lot. That's why timing is so important with game releases. And I still, at 13 years I've been doing this, these game companies still don't understand that. They think they can just throw their fucking game out whenever and anyone will just buy it on its own merits. That's not how life works. You know what I mean? You could have the best game ever, and you release it the same week as a giant AAA game that has a lot of marketing, and that game will eat you alive. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't release two of a similar style of game back to back. It ain't gonna work, man. Now, the other game that some people are talking about is this Warioware release. Apparently, for them to understand, Warioware on the Switch is coming out this week, and this game is going to be a series of mini games that are just kind of silly fun. I owned a Warioware game a very long time ago on the Nintendo DS. All right, I really liked it. I thought it was very silly. I liked the humor of it, and I thought that it was very fun to play. However, all right, and this is a strong however, I feel that the appeal of WarioWare games wears out really quickly. Like, once you've seen every minigame, once you've learned how to master every minigame in it, it basically gets boring. So, the first session or two of WarioWare is really exciting, and then after that, you're kind of like, meh. So, the question is WarioWare worth a purchase on a console when you know that game's probably going to be, what is it, $40 or something like that? Does anyone know actually the price? I think it's either 30 or $40, right? Is it worth that? To basically be playing a bunch of mini games that you're going to get tired of after a couple sessions. What I would argue is I think WarioWare would do really well on night streams for like zany fun. Oh, tonight we really don't have anything particular to do on the night stream. Let's do a quick a WarioWare session where I just do silly mini games for a couple hours and everyone kind of laughs at the silliness of it, right? That would make sense, but I don't know. I don't know how it would work out as a lengthy playthrough at all. I think it would get boring after a couple sessions. And the fact that it is not a cheap game. It would be one thing if this was like $20. From my understanding, I think it's $40. That's a lot of money for mini games. You know what I mean? So, and the other thing is, there at one point, it was a gimmick. WarioWare was a gimmick because you were using touchscreen controls on the DS. So you're like, oh, it's one of the games that really implements those touchscreen controls. You tap, you swipe. I remember there was one where you slice things, so you'd use your stylus and you're slicing across the screen and stuff. And that was really neat, but I would argue that it probably won't have a lot of heft to it. You know what I mean? So let me put it this way. I'll consider it. This week, there may even be potential at some point during this coming week where we have empty night streams, and if we do, I might play it. I seriously might give it a shot. I'm considering it. So WarioWare is a maybe for the next week. And Tales of Arise is a no-go for this week. There's no way I can do Tales of Arise with all the stuff that I'm currently going to tackle. And with Lost Judgment right around the corner. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope that, you know, that you guys are enjoying everything I'm planning on doing. If you have feedback, by all means, let me know. I'm already seeing feedback in the stream chat. People are telling me they feel Flight Simulator has run its course. Fair enough. Flight Simulator hasn't been doing that bad. I feel it's a good chill stream once a week, and we still have many places we can go. But if the overall feedback is, nah, it's boring, then we can stop doing it, you know? I guess we'll see, okay? Swagger says, no Life is Strange, no Deathloop, and no Arise. All right, so I'll just sit here with my thumb up my butt, playing no games, and just, like, doing... All right, in fact, per Swaggin's suggestion, here is my streams for the next month. Very exciting. I don't think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play some games. Okay. Anyway. Let's continue. So that's the schedule. So this week is exciting. We've got the conclusion of Tormented Souls today with Hades tonight. I'm off tomorrow, but when I return on Friday, it's the premiere of Life is Strange and Street Fighter. Then we got Life is Strange and Hades on Saturday, Psychonauts Endgame, and Flight Simulator Sunday. Likely more Life is Strange and maybe the conclusion of Psychonauts Monday, the premiere of Deathloop on Tuesday, and then we'll play it by ear Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of what I want to play each day. But I'm here 7 straight streaming days this week, and I hope that sounds good to you. Okay? Sound good? I hope so. People are saying I'll get more tips like that. All right, then. I received 0 tips when I was doing that. 0. So you're full of crap. Anyway, let's continue. So that's the schedule, guys. Now, a couple of things I'd like to point out, and I hope that you will observe with me. Currently, we are at 270 channel memberships. I miscounted yesterday. I thought that we had hit 271, but we had not, because actually what had happened is one of the memberships had expired and the person didn't renew. But you can't tell that live on YouTube. You used to be able to tell that on Twitch. You can't tell that live on YouTube. So the most we've ever had right now is 270, and that's what we're at. 270 is our record number of members here on the channel. All right. Pretty cool. We are only 15 memberships away from hitting the Tier 2 membership goal for September, which would mean that you guys will have influence over the actual costume that I'm going to be wearing for the Halloween Marathon event that's coming up in October. All right? Essentially, here's what happens every year. Over the course of September and October, my wife and I will go out to the local stores that have Halloween decorations and costumes. We see what's available, and we get ideas. We brainstorm certain costumes that may actually work out pretty well for my event. And while we're doing that, we basically sort those possible costumes into categories. For example, Hollywood movie monster, comic book character, video game character, pop culture icon, musician, celebrity, etc. Those are kind of some general categories that I've used over the years for selection of my costume. And then what happens is if we hit a support goal, you guys then get to influence it by voting on what kind of costume you want to see, and then I pick a costume in that category. So that way it's not determined early what costume I'm wearing. It's not like you guys know ahead of time, but you kind of, in general, know the category, and then I get to pick something cool. So previous years, costumes have been things such as a Ghostbuster, Deadpool, Bob Ross, Ezio Auditore, Yoshi, and Colonel Sanders. All right? Last 6 years running, I've been doing this cool Halloween marathon and had a different costume every single year, which has been really nice. Okay? So now, for this year, I have no idea. We went to one Halloween store. They were empty because they had just opened their doors, and they had nothing inside. So it was like, wow, we can't get any ideas yet. We got to wait probably a week or two before they start stocking up on everything. So we will do so. We will begin to look around and get ideas. But if we hit this membership goal, you guys will vote and determine the category of costume that I'll be wearing during that event on Halloween. So please consider becoming a channel member if you haven't. You get so many benefits from being a channel member. First of all, you support the channel, which is a no-brainer. If you like the content and you enjoy it and you want to see it continue, please support it. You get a highlighted name in the stream chat. You get a crown in the stream chat to show how long you've been a supporter. You get to ignore the slow mode rules of the stream, which means you can only type once every 10 seconds. You get to type as much as you want. And you get access to my emotes. I currently have 20 emotes unlocked. The latest one is the PS5 emote, which is me with the PS5 headset and controller on. When we hit 300 members here, which likely we will do within the next couple of months, we'll unlock another emote slot. And then for every 50, it's another emote slot, okay? It would be pretty awesome if we could get really good support in the next few months and unlock a few more emotes and get things, hopefully, similarly to the levels that they were over on Twitch, okay? I know that's going to take a while. I mean, I was streaming full-time on Twitch for 4.5 years to build it where it had been. I've only been streaming on YouTube for 3 months, so I know it's going to take a while, but hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So that's pretty cool. And I hope that you guys will consider becoming a member to make that happen. All right, guys? Now, in regards to the Halloween Marathon, we got some work to do because you guys have to start nominating games that you want to see me play during the Halloween event. Games could be survival horror or not. It doesn't matter. I'm allowing you guys to nominate whatever kind of games you want, although I'm going to tell you, use common sense. No, don't nominate lengthy JRPGs that I'm not going to fucking start playing during a Halloween marathon. No, don't pick Street Fighter V or something dumb. You know, some people just do it on purpose. They're like, I know games Phil won't play, so let me nominate them, right? It's pretty common sense. Some people don't have it. But yeah, you guys are going to be able to do open nominations starting over this coming weekend, all right? This weekend, I will set up the forum thread by which you can go start nominating games for this event, all right? I'll let you know when it's live so you can start nominations. Now, in addition to that, if you're a channel member, you will get additional benefits this month because you're going to also get to nominate the games you want to see during this event, and channel members will pick a game that will absolutely be in the event, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to do a community post on my page, DSP Gaming, here on YouTube. Only channel members will be able to see and respond to that community post. They're going to post up the games they want to see in that post. We're going to narrow them down to a poll. Then members will be able to vote exclusively on that poll. And the game that wins that poll will be in the event. So even though there will be open nominations, which likely will be tons of people doing it, members only nomination as well will happen. And they'll get to get a game in there. All right. So pretty exciting. All right. All that's coming, I'll let you know over the course of this weekend when it's ready to go. All right, guys? Ghost just asked an interesting question. So what's the best way to search all of your playthroughs to see if you've played a game in the past? If you're on the channel right now, DSP Gaming, go to the Playlists tab, and then there's a search function on the Playlists page. Search for it there. And if there's a game that I've played, likely I made a playlist for it, and it'll come up. The only exceptions to that rule would be incomplete games that maybe I only played them once or twice, so I didn't bother making a playlist, which is very rare. Or if it's a game that's so old, it was before DSP Gaming. DSP Gaming, the channel, came into existence in 2010. So anything previous to 2010 would actually be over on my Dark Side Phil channel, which only existed for about 2.5 years before it became defunct. Or if it's a fighting game that came out between the years of 2010 and 2012 or 2013, you may find footage of a fighting game on DSP Street Fighter, which was a fighting game exclusive channel that I had on YouTube for a few years there until essentially Machinima shut it down because they're a bunch of dumb fucks. Why? Because they're morons, and they told me they were going to pay me less for putting videos on that channel. And I said, so why would I put fighting game videos on a fighting game channel you're going to pay me less for when I could just put them on my main channel and make more money? And they said, oh, we didn't think of it that way, you're right, so I just closed the channel, essentially. They're a bunch of dumbasses. I mean, that's why they're out of business now. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you can find stuff. In particular, that's how I actually find my own playthroughs yesterday. When it was announced that Alan Wake was getting a remake, I did that to find the playlist on my channel, and that's how I actually watched back some of the videos. That function is not available on mobiles. Well, then don't use mobile. I'm going to give you a little spoiler, guys. I mean this. Listen up. Everyone listen up. YouTube has never worked on mobile devices. Never. Years ago, YouTube had a big initiative. They announced they were redesigning the entire site from the ground up to work on mobile devices. To this day, YouTube does not work properly on mobile devices. It doesn't. It never did, and it never will. It doesn't send out notifications properly. It doesn't allow you to follow and subscribe properly. You can't even do half the transactional things on a stream on a mobile device. Doesn't work properly. You can't search properly. Nothing works. They never made it functional on mobile devices. So if you're using the YouTube app or you're using YouTube through a mobile browser, you're like seeing 30% of YouTube, and it doesn't work. So stop. I don't even know what else to tell you. Like, I understand there's a convenience factor there, but if that's what you're doing, you're complaining. I mean, it never worked. Like, really, it never worked. They made all of us content creators ruin our channels. They took away the creative backgrounds and the design of our channels we used to have to make all YouTube channels look like a textbook page, blank and boring, so it would load on a mobile device, and then they never enabled functionality to make it actually work on a mobile device properly. It sucks. But that's just true. They never. You know, I'm sorry. I wish it was different, but they fucked it up. They never fixed it. They just left it broken. Okay. Lennon McCarthy says if you search DSP Gaming and then the name of a game in YouTube general search, that will sometimes work. I would agree if you have to type DSP Gaming and then the name of the game, and sometimes if you add playthrough, that will help tremendously, because I'm one of the content creators who over the years I've titled every single game that I've played, I've titled that series playthrough. So likely, if you search for that, you'll find it. If you say DSP Gaming, name of the game, playthrough, you'll probably get it in YouTube search. All right? But if you're not on a mobile device, you can actually use this, like I said, the search tab under the playlists area of the channel works very well. That's how I find stuff on my own channel. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. All right, guys. So here's the deal. that's good stuff, and I've pretty much covered everything I want to talk about. Very briefly, let me do some plugs, and then we're going to jump into shout-outs. I really don't have any game news to talk about today because there is none. As of tomorrow, there should be a ton of game news to talk about. And the reason being, all right, is because tomorrow is the big PlayStation event where they're supposed to give tons of news, updates on games coming out, all kinds of shit, all right? Should be great. It should be great. All right. So anyway, once that happens, of course, we'll have tons to talk about. I get the feeling when I come back on Friday, we're going to have a ridiculous amount of PlayStation shit to talk about, which is good. So. Okay, so let us jump into the quick plugs, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Thank you guys very much in advance for any kind of support that you throw my way. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am an independent content creator. I am not like most other people who do this for a living. I have no sponsorships. I have no partnerships. I am doing my own thing. And I am proud of that. That in 13 years, I haven't changed. I'm the same guy. I've definitely improved and become a more mature individual. And I feel my content today has more purpose than it ever had previously. But that being said, I'm here to play games, have fun, share those raw experiences with you every day, and be honest about what I'm experiencing in a game, because I don't have to answer to anyone or worry about losing a sponsorship, because I don't do that crap, okay? I'm very upfront with all of you about everything going on in a game and what gameplay experience I'm having, and I love the social interactions that we have every day on stream. They're genuine, all right? I pride myself on the fact that I can give a shout-out to every single person who supports my content, okay? Thank you for supporting that. Because if it weren't for you supporting that on a daily basis via your crowdfunding, I would not be here because I don't have any supplemental sources of income. So thank you, and thank you again for supporting my efforts to do this kind of content. I really do appreciate that. All right? How can you contribute? We've already talked about becoming a channel member, but you can do a super chat or a super sticker. These are ways that you can contribute through YouTube itself. You'll get a highlighted message in the stream chat, and I'll give you a shout out as long as it's not something that's derogatory, insulting, or derailing to the stream. The best way that you can contribute is by tipping me. Why is tipping so important, and why does it help the most? Number one, because tips I get immediately. So perfect example here. Tomorrow is my day off. Tomorrow I have to go grocery shopping in the morning, and I have to shop for an incredibly long amount of time because I'm not having a day off for over a week after. So it's going to be one of the heaviest, most expensive shopping trips I've had in a while. I got to get pet supplies tomorrow. I have appointments tomorrow. All this stuff adds up. When you tip me, those are funds I can use for this important stuff immediately because I get those funds right now. In addition, when you tip me, it's basically the least amount of fees that get taken out of any transaction. If you do anything else, there are fees that are taken out. Tips have the least taken out. Okay? So I'm just being honest here. That's why tipping is the most important. I have a business model that operates on needing tips in the short term to pay short-term obligations, but then there's also supplementary income from the memberships and the super chats that help out in the long term. My goal ultimately is to have so many memberships and super chats coming in, much like they were on Twitch, that I don't need so much immediate help with tips, but we're definitely not there. This has all been like starting over the last 3 months, okay? So, because tips are so important, all right, we have goals in effect as a way of saying thank you for tipping me. If we raise $50 of tips today, I will put on my pair of Gunner glasses. If we raise $100 of tips today, you guys get to vote on a hat that I will wear on the stream. Hat selections today include the digital, the camo boonie style, the fake hair tips, which are platinum tips, or the cowboy hat. I wore the military hat yesterday, so that one's out of the running, okay? In addition, if we raise the full tips goal today of $150, you'll get to vote on a type of vest that I'll wear. The vests today include the red, the camo, the denim, and the gold, okay? Why not the platinum? Because I just wore the platinum. That was the last vest that I wore. So again, for variety's sake, I take it out of the running for today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen up. This is very important. I'm actually going to go on camera for a second here, okay? Yesterday, I played Fall Guys. I enjoyed playing Fall Guys. Attendance was great. And in fact, super chats were sky high. It was a great stream in that regard. But tips were incredibly low. Being that this is only a 3-day streaming week for me, it's very important that I have a good day with tips today, or else I don't have money for tomorrow. So please, if you like my content, if you like today's streams, the conclusion of Tormented Souls, Hades, please tip me today. All right? I need the help today to get through tomorrow. After that, I've got an incredibly long streaming week. I need the help. So if you can tip me today, please do. I appreciate anyone who does. I really need the help to make up for the fact that last night's stream of Fall Guys was so slow for tips. I kind of need to make up that ground today. All right? It would be absolutely great if I could hit both tips goals today on both streams. I don't know if that's viable or even possible, but it would be great if we did. All right? And if we exceed them, holy shit, I'd be ecstatic. That would help me out so much. Okay? So please, if you can tip me today, please do. I really need the help today. Okay? All right, thank you. Trying to make up for a slow day yesterday. Let's get the shout-outs. All right? Let's get the shout-outs. First of all, we have one super chat this morning, and Barely Legal did a $5 super chat, said that was worth the money. So if you're wondering what Barely Legal is talking about, is when I stared at the camera. All right? When I was staring at the camera like a fool, that's what he's talking about. So let's get Barely Legal up there as the first super chatter of the day. Thank you so much, Barely Legal. Okay? Now, as for those who've tipped me so far today, let's get to that. We start off with, there was actually an overnight tip, $3.43 from Xbox King 89. Xbox and 343 sound like they may be related somehow. He says the following. I know you got an Xbox Series X. I assume you intend to play Halo Infinite. You are required to play Halo Wars 2 before you can do that because it's a prequel. Don't go into Halo 6 ignorant like everything else. Make sure to play the DLC too. Actually, I don't need to play Halo Wars 2 before Halo 6 because Halo 6 is essentially a rebooting after Halo 5 was so criticized for basically having a terrible plot. They're essentially hitting the reset button with this one and saying, okay, all those events of the last two games don't really matter. Here's the deal with a new plot. Here's where we're starting. So, actually, no, I don't have to. Now, I'm not saying I would never play Halo Wars, but it is a strategy-type game. And I'll be honest, strategy-type games don't usually get much attention and or long-term following on my channels. I've tried playing strategy-type games. I tried playing XCOM, and I actually played Mario Cross Rabbids a few years ago, and I liked both games. XCOM became such a grind, people literally told me stop playing it. So I did. In Mario Cross Rabbids, I did finish that game. I enjoyed it very, very much. But the entire second half of the game, people told me, this is boring, stop playing it. So whenever I play these strategy-style games, people get bored. I'm not saying I'll never play it. I'm just saying if I do it, it'll be a balance with that and other stuff. And, I never played a Halo Wars game. Obviously, they do well if there was a sequel. I'd be interested in checking it out at some point. We'll see. The good news about this is, since it's Game Pass, I have no commitment to keep playing it. I can play it once or twice, and if I don't like it or the viewers don't like it, I don't have to keep going. That's the good thing about Game Pass. Seriously. Okay. Tarantula MS 2018 did the first tip of today's stream, which is $5. So let's get that up on the leaderboard. Thank you, Tarantula. And Tarantula says the following. Hey, Phil, did you ever play Saints Row the Third Remaster that came out a few years ago? No, I didn't, because when it came out, it was interestingly enough, two things were going on. First of all, there were other games out that I wanted to play more. And on top of that, the reports were that it wasn't very good. That it was kind of a botched remaster. And it really didn't run or look great. So I basically kind of just said, I'll play it long-term if they patch it. And then no one ever really asked me to go back and play it. So I never did. And now that the new one is coming out next year, I'm more interested in trying that out than saying going back to 3. So I think we're just going to hold off and play the new one. Okay? Thank you for the tip. Anso Kamaru tipped me $1.50. And says, I love Life is Strange 1. I never played Before the Storm or Life is Strange 2. Do you think 3 is going to require you to remember the story from 1? I played it so long ago I barely remember what happened outside the main core story, and I have no time to play Life is Strange 1. No, in fact, Life is Strange 2 didn't have any connection to 1. And I don't expect that Life is Strange True Colors will have a connection to 1 either. I think that they're standalone game experiences, although certainly there is some carryover when it comes to gameplay elements and things. I don't think there'll be any crossover. I don't think you need to play Life is Strange 1 to understand this new one, or 2 to understand this new one at all. I just think it's going to be separate game entities. Also, Kamaru actually did another $1.50 tip and says, Warioware is definitely worth the price. The music, the gameplay, and everything was fantastic from the demo, and I'm a massive fan who can easily sink 60 hours into each game in the series. But yeah, it doesn't work for a stream, in my opinion. So listen to that. He literally praised the hell out of the game and then said, yeah, and it wouldn't work for your streams. Wow. But you see what I mean? Like, Warioware is silly fun. It's a great time waster. It's a great kind of casual game you can jump in and enjoy. And if you master the mini games, it could be incredibly fun and challenging. But is it something for extended streaming? I don't think so. I don't know. Like I said, I'm considering it. If it comes out and you guys really want to see me play it, I would definitely consider it, but I don't know if it's really going to work. Okay? I don't know. I just don't know. Okay. Let's continue. BattleDuck 9000 did a $20 tip, which is the biggest tip of today, and he says, for the awesome 30 seconds of DSP intense stare session of the stream. Well, thank you, BattleDuck. I thought people were joking, but apparently people are actually tipping me for staring. I figured that one out. Thank you so much, BattleDuck, for that very generous tip. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Snow Carl tipped $1.50. He says, since you've admitted to making poor financial choices, isn't the fact you're now able to survive on thousands less monthly since you left Twitch proof you've become financially responsible? A bit of thought for your trolls and conspirators. No, here's the deal. I talked about this earlier this year. I said, actually, earlier this year, things were going well for me, and here's why. All right? Basically, the dust had settled from my bankruptcy in 2020. Okay? All of those kind of financial obligations, the debt that was lingering on the back of my neck was almost gone. The only real lingering debt that I had was taxes. Outside of that, everything else was gone, which was obviously a good thing. Because it allowed me to focus on more important things like paying my taxes, which I should have been doing all along and I had never been doing. And I even said earlier this year, this was like, I'm not even kidding, like 1 or 2 weeks right before the Twitch fiasco, I publicly said to you guys, as long as things stay the level that they are, and I'm making what I make on Twitch, I'm going to be able for the first time ever to start putting money aside every month to start having a savings. So when an emergency happens, I'll have money for it. Or maybe in a year or two, I could save up enough money that my wife and I can actually go on a nice honeymoon or something, which we never had because I was in such debt I couldn't do anything like that, right? I made that public announcement. And then what happened 2 weeks later, right? I'll tell you what happened. Twitch kicked me out of the partner program for literally no fucking justifiable reason. They lied to me about their reasoning because if it actually was true what they told me, they would have provided evidence, which they did not. So, essentially, they fucked me. And when that happened, I went right back to square one. Now, I'm basically back to where I was, where every single month, I'm barely making ends meet. I'm barely paying my bills. There's certain bills every month that I'm paying late, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm paying late fees and shit, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not making enough money to pay everything on time. If I had a couple good months, like let's say, for example, these next few months, contributions go up a bunch because there's new games that people are excited, and maybe end of the year for Christmas, sometimes there's an increase in what people give me because they're generous and the like. Maybe I could get ahead on things for a month or two, and I could get to the point where I'm not paying things late and doing late fees again. But I'm literally right back to where I was again. It sucked. For the first time in years, I was like, I'm finally getting out from under this water. I now can have extra funds every month to put aside for important things and everything. And I was having long-term, remember, earlier this year, I said, wow, I can maybe upgrade my setup, get a new PC, do a green screen, do this, do that. And all that possibility was taken away from me by Twitch. All of it. So, it is what it is. It sucks ass. Am I in monstrous debt like I was? No. That's good. But I'm still behind on taxes, and I can't really catch up. I wish I could. There's right now, the fact that I now am making thousands of dollars less a month than I was just a few months ago, I can't catch up like I was. My plan was get caught up and even have excess. Now it's barely making do again. So, it is what it is. I don't want to talk about my finances publicly all day, Snow Carl. I really wish you'd stop fucking bringing it up. You know, again, people say I took the bait. I'm trying to be nice and answer your question. Most people don't want to hear this, dude. You understand that, right? Most people don't want to hear the fucking sob stories of how Twitch fucked me for the 400th time. So stop bringing it up. BattleDuck 9000, Timmy, $20. It says $20 for you to switch your webcam to the Snot Burger for the start of the stream. The Snot Burger? What are you talking about? There's no burger. I didn't have a burger. I haven't had a burger. I wish I had a burger. Because let me tell you, if I had gotten a Whopper or something, it would have been a lot better than this fucking disgusting, festering, you know, oozing, pus and maggot-filled mess that I got from fucking Burger King. I mean, this looks like someone ate the spicy chicken sandwich and shat it back out on the bun. All right, anyway, enough of that. It's disgusting. Okay. Thank you very much, Battleduck, for another $20 tip. And then the villain tipped me $20. So thank you to the villain for a $20 tip. That's going to jump us all the way up to $68 in tips to start, which means the Gunner Glasses will be going on as soon as we start with gameplay. That's excellent. Thank you. The Real Swaggins question mark tipped me $2, said, I'm tired of chat playing favorites with the hats. I've only seen you wear the military and the platinum tips. Can we go back to just eliminating each hat until you wear them all? All hat lives matter. I guess we can. I agree with you. It's essentially we're having the same situation with the hats that we had with the vests. Is everyone just kept voting for platinum, no matter what. So eventually I said we can't do that every stream, especially because the platinum's the heaviest vest there is, and during the summer it makes me sweat profusely. It's disgusting. So I said no, we're gonna do variety on the vests, right? So we could do that, and that's why the military is eliminated today. Okay. But we will have the others in the running. So there you go. Chicken Man tipped me $1.50 and says, did you see the video Steve from Blue's Clues released? Why he left years ago to go to real college. People are crying over it on Twitter how sad it is. I actually watched it, but I've never seen Blue's Clues. It was in my social media feed, and I was like, why are people like crying over this? And then I watched it. I was like, well, that's kind of heartfelt, especially if you were a kid who used to watch this show. Keep in mind, Blue's Clues is 25 years old. So I guess that means it started in 1996. And I think it ran for many years, right? Didn't it run for like 4, 5, 6 years until the guy retired from it? So for people who grew up in the 90s kids, Blue's Clues was a part of their childhood, you know? And to see the show change because he left and they had a new guy host the show for a while, probably was heartbreaking for a lot of kids, right? Same as me, I'm watching Sesame Street and a cast member from Sesame Street leaves. That's sad. Someone who you watched every day, part of your educational programming, right? So that being said, having them come back and do a video like that was kind of nice, obviously. For those who cared. Personally, I'd never seen it, so I didn't care. I mean, that show was out when I was already a teenager. You know, I was graduating from high school and Blue's Clues was on TV. Why would I care? Yeah, Blue's Clues rebooted recently with a new guy. That's right. That's correct. Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have covered all the shout-outs. I would like to say... Oh, wait a minute. Snow Carl tipped me $1.50, says, if people only like 2 hats, change the hats. Don't force the ones people dislike as rewards. If your community loves something that allows you to do well, why try to sabotage it? I just don't get it. I didn't say I'm doing that at all. What we're doing is we're rotating. We have 5 hats. Okay, the hats in rotation are as follows. The blue digital. The military style. Excuse me, I just burped tremendously. The camo boonie hat. The platinum tips fake hair hat. And the cowboy hat. We have 5 hats, right? So when one gets worn, it gets eliminated. And then another one kind of sneaks in and becomes possible. If you haven't noticed, I haven't made it so that only 1 or 2 hats is available. I haven't done that, right? I'll reset it. I wait a few days, and after a few days pass, okay, reset it back, everything's eligible again, right? Now, as I've told you guys, what I would like to do is in the next couple of months, as it gets cooler. Right now, it hasn't. Today, it's 80 degrees again here in Washington. Yeah. Right now, it's 75 outside, and the sun is out, and it's heating up again. So, over the next few weeks, as we finally head into true fall weather, which is coming, it's just fucking taking forever, I'm not going to be using the air conditioner anymore. I'm not going to need it. And when I don't need the air conditioner anymore because it's so cool, all right, then I will look to get some more hats for the stream. In particular, the other thing I'm waiting for is in mid-October, I'm going to receive my new headset from Hori, which is a wireless headset you wear around your neck, and the speakers project the sound up into your ears, so you have surround sound even though you're not wearing headphones. Once I'm not wearing headphones at all anymore, now I can wear a large variety of hats because I don't need to have hats that won't be intrusive to headphones. You see? So once that finally happens, then I can be way open to new hats. All right? And by the way, I'm receptive to new hat suggestions. Excuse me. I would absolutely be open to people saying, hey, wear this kind of hat, wear this kind of hat, all right? So by all means, send those my way. And if anyone ever wants to donate a style of hat, I'm open to that too. The Platinum Tips hat was donated by a fan. I didn't buy that one. A fan actually got that one for me. Okay? Xbox One is garbage. Shipped me $1.50 and said, "What's up? I've been watching only your pre-streams recently because there's 0 good games out, and I'm waiting for Battlefield 2042 while I personally play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm at 243 hours of playtime. Go Bucks. I'm going to slap the cowgirls around tomorrow." All right. I guess he means the cowboys. He's making fun of them. All right. Thank you, Xbox One is garbage, for the tip. Thank you for catching up with us. It's good to see you on stream. Okay. Ghost just asked, let's see. If something like Outlast 2 or Dead Space 2 gets nominated for the Halloween Marathon, do you remember those games, or have you forgotten enough to get scared about playing them again? I would argue Outlast 1. Outlast 2, I hate it. Like, Outlast 2 is a terrible fucking game that's not scary at all. It's just gross. Outlast 1 is a scary game. Dead Space 2, I just played it. I just played Dead Space 2 a couple years ago, if you guys remember. So I probably would not want to play Dead Space 2 again, because I just recently played it and probably would remember everything from it. Yeah. Can we nominate PC games as Daedalus? Very limited, and here's why. My current setup, I'm recording and broadcasting at 1080p 60 frames per second, and when I'm recording gameplay, my CPU use is up to 70-80%. Now, where am I going to find extra CPU use to run a game? You see, I'm not. So I'm going to ask, unless it's an incredibly basic game, to not nominate games that are on PC. That would probably be a bad idea because the stream would probably crash. Okay? Okay. Alright, guys. It's time for a break. Let's take a break. I'm going to use the bathroom. I recommend you guys use the restroom, grab a drink, grab a snack, whatever you'd like to do. And when I come back, it's the conclusion of Tormented Souls. I remember where we were yesterday. We had gotten a blue vial, and now we need to go downstairs into this area under what appeared to be a coffin. There's a staircase that we opened, and we're going to go down there and see what's going on, man. I'm excited to find out what's going to happen further in the game. So I hope you guys will join me in just a few minutes. Thank you for being a good audience for the pre-stream, and I'll see you in just a few. All right.